Hello, and welcome to Dear Dana. How are you in the bushes, and how are you coming into the channel? I don't see you yet, but I know that you're coming. I hope that everyone is having a good week. We will be discussing today childhood wounds and trauma, and is your unhealed inner child running your life? Is your unhealed inner child running your life? If you do not know what that means, we will talk about it. Some of you do know what that means. Hello, Shelly Marie. Hi, Paranormal Witch Willow. That is okay. Hey, Marie Crumb. Hello, everyone watching in secret. I still see you and appreciate you. A lot of us have that. Well, we all have that inner child. Let's be honest. We all have that inner child, and things get triggered. Things definitely get triggered. We have those wounds from growing up where we did not get the support or the love or the, how do I say it? The affection or the understanding that we needed, or something may have been said to us, or we were treated in a certain way, or we may not have had a parent, or we were raised not in our household. We all have wounds or trauma in some way, and we stuff it in our shadow self. And it is not healed. And it works on us in ways that we don't even understand. And of course, the kids that we were keep growing up and getting older. But deep inside, we are still those kids. Yes, we are. We are still those kids. We just look older. But it can run amok and run havoc on our lives if we do not address those things that wounded us or hurt us. And oftentimes people don't even realize it. It's an unconscious thing. And there are times we think we are doing A-okay. We're doing A-okay with our lives. We don't even have to look at it. And oftentimes, particularly men will do this. It's not shade on men, let me be honest. But men are the worst about getting support or going to therapy. Shoot, they're the worst about going to the doctor. Let's tell the truth. Let's tell the truth. Men are the worst about going to the doctor. You have to push and push and push. Often, not all men, I'd say a lot or most, to get them to go to the doctor. They think they're being strong by not going. But a lot of times men are scared to go to the doctor because they don't want to find out if something's wrong, much less go to therapy. Much less go to therapy because they don't want somebody telling them, hey, have you thought about it? This might be wrong? Or you might be feeling this. A lot of men don't like to deal with feelings, especially straight men. Let's be honest here. Let's tell the truth. And some women think they have to shove it in. They try to deal with it. But, women, especially single moms, have to be the doctor at home, the nurse at home, the cook at home, the mom at home. They have to work at home and clean the home, and the list goes on, doesn't it? I'm not saying men don't do their thing, but the list is long for the woman. Again, no shade on a man. I know there are single dads out there too. But the list is long for the woman. Hey, Queen of O'Hara. But before I go on, let me say this because I'm the world's worst. Please like, share, and subscribe. Especially please like and subscribe. And if you are already subscribed, make sure you're still subscribed because YouTube will sometimes knock you off for whatever reason. So let's please do all the YouTubey things because it helps get the eyeballs out there. It does. And as you can see, I'm still going to stay genuine me, and we will talk about spiritual things and social commentary things, but I'm shifting just a little bit, and we're going to do a lot of psychological breakdowns so we can understand more about what's really going on and what's the deal with us and what's the deal with what people are doing out there. You know, the famous people, we're going to use them as examples so we can understand more about you and me and them. So I'm going to shift just a little bit so we can learn more about the psychology of how we're all doing. Right? Just a slight shift. But again, thank you for being here at Dear Dana, and please subscribe and like. I'm going to drop the intro now. I'm going to drop it on down. And here we go. One. Oh yeah, all right. And I think I'm going to make a new banner for the channel. Might diddle with the intros and stuff. I want to liven it up in here. Make the channel look a little better somehow. And if any of you are artistic or have any suggestions, I'm all ears and that's not my ears. I'm all ears and eyes. I'm open. I want to, zhuzh it up a bit. Zhuzh it up. I'm itchy. It's time for a change. It's time for a change. But back to the topic. I have dealt with some lovely people lately, but I keep getting the same message. And I think we all need to hear it. We all have wounds. Thank you, Queen of O'Hara. We all have old wounds and trauma. Let me hear it in the chat. If you have old wounds and trauma that are still sitting with your inner child, and you know what I'm talking about, drop a 1 in the chat. Old wounds and trauma that you reflect back on that are sitting with your inner child that you know gets triggered. Drop a 1 in the chat. And you know it gets triggered. You know it needs healed. And somehow you know it creeps out here and there somewhere. You know it's there, right? And you would like for it to be healed. Let me tell you, I've spoke to a couple of people, and I have recognized. They will talk to me about relationships and situations, and they are lovely, lovely, good souls that I have known. They are helpful and kind and try to do the next right thing. And they will do things for people, and they will say, and this is how they were with me. I don't understand why they are this way with me when I do XYZ for them. And this is the response I get. This is not how they're supposed to be with me. And I'm listening, And this is more than one person. Okay, I cannot talk to you right now, Mom. You need to get off my phone. Abra, Cadabra, get off my phone right now, Mom. Bad timing. Anyway, she'll have to wait. Bad example, Mom. Don't call me again. Anyway, they don't understand why they're getting this response. And they're getting this response because they're doing these good things for people with the expectation that these people should have a certain response. And because they are expecting that response, their behavior is putting out the energy. Okay, now, what's your response? They're not saying that, but that is their energy. And it's obvious. So, of course, the other person is responding like WTF. Right? You just did a good deed for me, and what are you expecting? Right? That is not what you do. That is their inner child doing good things to fill that gap of emotion or gratitude or love or something that the inner child did not get. It's not about the adult doing a good thing. It's about the inner child hopping out trying to get some kind of soul food. Do you understand what I'm saying? So when the inner child hops out doing something good in an irrational way, the response is going to be negative. And that sometimes causes arguments with spouses. It causes conflict or headbutting with a parent and a teenager, or a step parent and a teenager. It causes friction with friendships because that kind deed had a tag attached. Can you see where I'm getting at? Because if that inner child was healed and the adult just did a kindness from the bottom of their heart, there would not be a tag attached. And the other person would have responded in a genuine way, because the adult would have done a kindness from the bottom of their heart with no expectation, no need for some kind of performance or a wait for a response from the other person. Does that make sense? If it does not make sense to you, let me know in the comments. Please let me know in the comments if it does not make sense to you. Hey, Care Bear. So happy to see you. Care Bear said, hey, dear Danny, just wanted to stop by real quick to say hello. I messaged you on IG a few weeks back about meeting my younger self in a dream and had questions about that. I thought I had responded to you about that. It makes a little sense. Okay, let me put it this way. You have not healed an inner wound that you had as a child. Okay? let's put it this way. I had a wound at age 11, okay? There was a wound I had at age 11, and I had to do work with that because I had not done work with that at a certain time. I would say sorry to people a million times over for things I had no responsibility for. Every little thing, I would always say, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Because at age 11, I was always taking responsibility for everything because I was so meek and a little bit submissive and beaten down. I was always apologizing. And I can remember my grandfather telling me to quit saying I'm sorry. So I had to work on that part of myself because it was so automatic, me apologizing for everything. And I would catch myself, right? And that was coming from the wounded child part of me, reacting in a submissive way, and it would get triggered by my first husband because there were aspects of him that were just like the person that sort of molded me that way. So I had to do work on my inner child and healing to break that wound because that part of my inner child was constantly coming out. Now, do you get that part of it? There are certain aspects of your inner child, whatever that wound is, whatever caused it or you didn't get, will creep out of your personality and react trying to get what you did not get. Or it will react in the way you did at that age. Okay? Just like me saying, this person was reacting to that other person, trying to buy their love, basically, trying to get what she didn't get as a child. And when that person did not respond the way she wanted to, she was having issues with it. You cannot expect other people to react the way you want them to. You cannot have it in your head that they're supposed to react a certain way because we are individuals. I'm sorry, Care Bear, I don't know that I saw it. You said, no, I never got a response for you, but I thought you were busy, so I understand. But I totally understand the wounded inner child trying to learn how to work on this and past childhood traumas. Well, this is what tonight is all about. Please tell me about it here, Care Bear, because I can't believe if I had seen it, I would have responded. I can't believe I would have seen it and not responded. That is not like me. So I deeply apologize, Care Bear. Really, I deeply apologize. I must have overlooked it or something. So please forgive me. So tell me about it. So tonight is about those traumas and those wounds. So please feel free to tell me about it. What goes on when we try to overlook them and stuff them back is they come creeping out and go, aha, I'm still here. And I'm going to creep out in your relationship and I'm going to make you overreact. And I'm going to be that 5-year-old, that 7-year-old, that 12-year-old, whatever age you were when that trauma occurred, you're going to act that age in certain circumstances of which you get triggered, you are emotionally going to react that age in certain aspects of your relationships. Because you are trying to undo that pain or react out of that pain. Does that make sense? And test people. Test them in your life. You will test the hell out of them to see if they're going to respond or act the same way as the person that gave you that wound or that pain in the first place. So you're either going to A, punish them, or see if they can fix your wound. One of two things. You're going to punish them or see if they can help you fix it and stick around. And that's kind of what happens. And do you know it can even happen at your workplace? It can even happen at your workplace. It depends on what personalities trigger what. So it's very important to pull those wounds out, and it doesn't have to be all at one time, but pull them out, write them down, and face them. Face them, even if they're painful. And face the most predominant ones. And if they're super painful, like devastatingly so, I do recommend you're in therapy. If they're devastatingly so, I recommend you're in therapy to have that support. If you feel you can handle them, then you work on them one at a time. You check it out, you write it down, you look at it. Because this is how it has to go. You meditate, and you one by one, you go back to that place. You cannot do it at a mass at one time. You cannot say, okay, I'm going to take these 5 wounds and traumas, and I'm going to do it at one time. Can't do it. It would be a mass bleed out. You have to do it one at a time. And I recommend going from the smallest to the largest. You take one and you meditate. And listen, I know I beat the word meditate to death, but there's an important reason why. When you pray, you are asking. When you meditate, you listen. You listen. But you go into meditation and you go to that age that you were for that one wound or trauma. And you see yourself at that age where that one wound or that trauma occurred. And you, as this adult that you are, you see yourself at that age and you go to yourself at that age and you discuss the wound, you discuss the trauma, and you reparent in that moment. You take yourself at that age and you embrace yourself and you rock yourself and you tell yourself how sorry you are that this wound and this trauma occurred. And you basically rewrite it and reparent the age that you were and heal that trauma in that moment. You give yourself at that age the emotional support, the loving support, the healing support that you needed at that age. You parent yourself at that age during that meditation. You embrace, you surround, you encompass yourself. And if it takes a second time, a third time, a fourth time, this is what you do. You go into that moment. And trust me, it works. And once you feel on an emotional level, on a soul level, that your inner child at that age is able to release and you will feel it, then you are able to go to the next significant wound. You can't go to a million wounds, but your spirit, your soul, your heart knows what the significant ones are. And this is how you're able to release. Trust me, I did it. I had to do this. I probably could have done it more, but I did this for some significant ones. And it works. It works. But it's so important to do this kind of work for yourself so you can live a more full, enriched life. But people do not realize the significance of self-care is not selfish, because it doesn't only help us, it trickles over onto the relationships we have. They're more healthy. Our work relationships are more healthy. It creates a flow. You get what I'm saying? You see what's going on in chat. Dun, 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 dun. Paranormal said, that's why I'm working on my shadow work. It starts with my inner children, what gives me true. Care Bear says, I met my younger self in a dream. She was pretty. Basically, I felt some type of ABUSE happen to her, and I told her after I worked on myself that I would come back for her. That is a great idea. And that is basically your dream telling you to do some inner child work. It's about doing inner child work. That's a very wise dream, Care Bear. And it's telling you, look, you're so pretty. Your dream is telling you, look, you're so pretty. Which you don't believe about yourself. Marie says, I have so many childhood dramas I've been working on. I'm very proud of you. I'm very proud of you. And you know, I would be willing to bet you, when you do your art, a lot of expression of your inner self comes out in your work. And you're able to get a lot of things out of your body. I cannot express more how important it is to have some kind of outlet of expression. When people write music, they're able to express pain and angst and all of those kinds of things to release it from their bodies. The release we have from internal pain and emotions is so healthy. Because when you hold all of that in, like a vessel, when people try to trap pain and trauma and woundedness inside of themselves, holding it like a secret, like it's trapped in a vessel, they do not realize on a cellular level how much damage they're causing to themselves health wise. On telomeres and DNA, when telomeres replicate and shorten, that is what determines your lifespan. If they lengthen, that's what determines your health and lifespan. You can look it up, right? But the emotional connection to your health is exponential. People do not even consider that. The mind body connection is real. It's real. I mean, look at the man after the shooting at the school, and his wife was the teacher. He literally died of broken heart syndrome. Literally. So the more that we can work on our wounds, the better. So I think this is of utmost importance. And I decided, because I've talked to so many people lately that are holding the childhood wounds and trauma. Marie says, I've been in therapy for over 30 years. My therapist asked me to draw my inner pain, but it's hard for me to draw it out because you're overthinking it, Marie. You're overthinking what should it look like. So instead, you know the conscious breathing that I have taught so many times on here? I don't know how many people remember it. I'm sure Shelley and Willow probably do. I'll ask in a minute how many do. But if you just do the conscious breathing and just let your hands free flow and do what they want to do and pick the colors they want to pick and just speak to your trauma and let it do its own thing and don't even think about it, that's what you need to do. That's what you need to do. Say a little prayer and ask your trauma to draw itself. Don't think about it. Don't overthink it. Not even one little bit. That's where it's going crazy. I know that it's too painful, but holding it in your body, Marie, is partially what has caused problems. It is too painful for you to hold it in your body. You already know that because you are experiencing pain on a psychological, emotional, and physical level. I understand, but you don't have to think about the pain. All you have to do is meditate and tell your hands to do the colors and draw themselves. You don't have to think about it. Tell your hand to think about it. You meditate, say a prayer, tell your hand to think about it. You don't have to think about it. That is the whole point. That is the whole point. You ask for guidance from above. You ask your angels in your hand to take over so that you don't have to think about it. You free flow. You just free flow. Here, Marie says, procrastination is the root of all evil. I know that problem. But here's how you break it. You tell yourself, I don't have to do the whole thing. I'm just going to take one step. That's how I have figured out how to break it. I say, I'm going to take one step and one step only. I'm going to make one move. Yes, procrastination is part of inner child wound. Because procrastination is part of being afraid of not being perfect. It's a fear of not being perfect, about being judged by a parent or a peer. Because you're fearful of not being perfect. But you tell yourself, I'm just going to take one step and do my best. But what usually happens is that one step equals completion. Marie Crum says, well, my anger has exploded with the deaths of my stepfather. So I just can't go there right now. I have held in so much waiting for my mother and father to be gone. It is understandable, Marie, when you are ready, you pray and you ask for supernatural guidance. No one is forcing you. You are greatly loved. You do all when you're ready. That is it. You just do all when you are ready. But it is very, very, very beyond important to go to your inner child and begin the work as though they are either your own child or a child you have taken in. And that is the truth. And that you are giving them unconditional positive regard and loving guidance as the adult. Because I look back on the child I was, and I'm going to be honest with you, she almost seems like a separate person from who I am now. And I have great love and understanding of her now. Great love and understanding of her now. Because I can look back on who I was and I have great empathy. Great empathy for the child I was. Marie, I am so sorry. Listen, we are always here for support. I mean, I hate that I missed a message from anyone in here, Care Bear especially. And Care Bear, you should have sent me another note and say, did you see my note? Because I'm going to tell you, sometimes I've got so much going on sometimes, I'm like, squirrel. That's the truth. So all you have to do is send me another note and say, did you see my note? Will it bother me that you said that? Heck no. It will not bother me. Because that is the truth. Look, I might be doing something and literally see a rabbit in my backyard and get distracted. That's the truth. Yeah, and it's odd that I'm having this topic tonight because you literally saw your younger self. And if you see, and you're being directed to bring healing to your younger self, recognize that you were a pretty girl, for one thing, and that you were coming back to get her. And that is the truth. Good, Marie Crum. You are addressing your self-care and not putting yourself last. And if you all go to address your younger selves, your wounded selves, the trauma that you have had, and you want to address it along the way, or if you want me to do a Zoom group, let me know. Because that would probably be the best way right now. Because I have Zoom. Let me know. But it is so important if we want to grow as individuals, and we don't want our inner child getting in our way of healthy working relationships, friendships, love, marriage, whatever it is, we have to work on these things. Shelley goes, I'm in. We have to work on these things. You are most welcome, you all. Because you have to go a little deeper sometimes and recognize where the pain is. And what you do is, if you have to scoop your inner child out of that date and time in your life, scoop that memory out, literally cut it out, and re-sew the date together, and almost reimagine the memory in your timeline. You can do it in your brain. Did you know that? Reimagine the memory so that pain is no longer triggered in your brain. Crazy, huh? It's almost like you can rewrite your history, edit and clip. It doesn't make it never happen, but it no longer triggers your life. It's almost like cutting a piece of the pain out of your body so it no longer affects you. It's like psychic surgery. And I don't mean it in a, I'm a psychic and I'm going to cut it out. I mean it in a psychological way. At this point in all of our lives, with the craziness in the world, we can't control the price of gas, the price of food, the price of houses, all this utter chaos and negativity going in the world also. But by damn, we can control our happiness, our sanity, healing some of our wounds, and our relationships. So I cannot control everything, but by gosh, if I can bring people more healing, that's what I'm going to do. That's my goal. That's always been my goal, to help people the best way that I can. So I'm focusing on the ways that I can help people, while there's so much in the world that I cannot do to help. I'm focusing on what I can do to help. Shelley says, I remember most of the memories and I'm not afraid to speak on it. I don't think I hold it in, so I don't know what to do. What do you mean? I remember most of the memories. I'm not afraid to speak on it. I don't think I hold it in, so I don't know what to do. It's about what triggers it. Are any of them triggers in a way they affect your relationships? You kind of say, I speak on it, it doesn't bother me, so it doesn't trigger me. So if it's not affecting your life, that's the key. Are the wounds affecting you in any way? Do they get triggered? Do they affect your relationships? That's what you have to look at. If they're not bothering you, then you're fine. If the wounds and the traumas in your inner child are not affecting you in any negative way whatsoever, then you're fine. That's what you have to look at. I mean, I sort of feel out and look at people when they talk to me about their relationships, etc., then I know. Spot on, I know. I see where the tidbits are fitting. Yes, what, Shelley? You're fine or not fine? No, I'm guessing it bothers me. You just have to be able to feel it out and see where the sneaky snake's coming out. But a lot of people have those inner child issues, and you kind of think they're okay, or it's charming, or you know what I'm saying. But then when you get deeper in relationships with them, you're like, oh heck, I didn't see that, or I didn't realize that, or shoot, I've dated men and it looked kind of cute till you dated them longer, and you're like, ooh, honey, he acts like a child, or he acts like a child when he doesn't get his way. And I cannot deal with that. Where is, are you seeing somebody? Where is that coming from? I don't get that. Like when certain behaviors are coming out of the blue, you're like, whoa, where did that come from? That's that inner child coming out to bite somebody, and you don't know how to react to it. You've seen it. You might not know what it is at that moment, but you've seen it in people. Or you go, whoa, they're acting like a child. That's where that saying comes from. They're acting like a child. That's that inner child coming out to play. You know, we are all children on the inside. Our bodies just kept growing and we kept getting older. And we learned a little more. Think about it. We were a baby, then we were a little, you know, we're all that kid on the inside. We learned a little more. The bodies just kept changing. So it's important, it's very, very important to do that work. And some people throw tantrums if they don't get the response out of people that they want. And part of the reason for some of my childhood trauma, my dad did that a lot. You know, you can be in families and you can be very intelligent, well spoken, polite. But depending on the way you were raised, you can get emotionally stunted. You can get emotionally stunted. And that inner child will need some work. Because maybe your parents were and made all the decisions for you and dictated who you were supposed to be as a human being. And you were emotionally stunted. There's a lot of people that come out like that and they're not sure about how to make decisions and all that stuff. My own father died in 1966 suddenly. I was 9 years old. Back then, no one ever talked about how that affects you. And as a child, I didn't even understand what happened, let alone understand my feelings. Exactly. No one talked about therapy then, I'm sure. And so how are you supposed to process all of that? And I'm sure it's a long delay in trying to process all of that loss. You've been through a lot. And you've done well considering, Marie. Shelley said, a childhood friend said to me the other day that she remembers me talking fast, nervous, and stuttering. That was caused from my father. Shoeless One, morning family. Shelly. Morning, Steve. Wow, this is so eye-opening. Thank you, Care Bear. Nope, I remember my mother saying children don't feel things like adult does. Whoa. That is so harsh. I am so sorry that you had to hear something like that, Marie. And, they may have assumed that because they may have assumed that your brain doesn't develop the way adults do. They said so many ignorant things early on. And, they thought babies don't understand anything when they're very small. But now we understand. That's weird, isn't it, Cameron? Now they understand that babies understand a heck of a lot more than they ever thought. That they have a higher comprehension as small babies. So it's very odd. Hey, Shoeless One. But I think this is a very, very important topic because so much of our inner child, which we carry with us our whole life, affects how we comprehend the world around us. It affects how we learn. It affects how we interact with everyone. Marie Crum said she was so young, only 33, when my father died. She was left with 7 children and 9 and under. Wow. She had a ton of responsibility. So you can kind of understand. Wow, Marie. So much love and grace to you all. That is a lot. You have a book you could write. But the inner child is a book in itself, really. If you sit here, you can feel the inner child within you. You can feel your inner child that you carry with you your whole life. You go back and reflect on your child self, your entire life. Your entire life. I am so sorry as well, Marie, that you had to go through all that you did. You are a strong soul, and there are so many good humans in this environment. I love it, and I'm proud of every single one of you. Sheila One said, we all need to heal our inner child. We all carry so much baggage that we were not meant to carry, and we can pass it on to our own children if unresolved. That's all very true. We all carry the baggage of our childhood our whole life, and we keep looking back to and this is the truth. We all keep looking back to our child self, our inner child, for wisdom and for nuggets and for pieces of the puzzle our whole entire life until the day we die. Until the day we die. And so our child self, our inner child, is our lifetime guru. And that is the truth. But actually, we need to go back and love on and embrace and heal our inner child instead of expecting our child to give us all the answers all the time. And then that alone will be a healthier relationship. Because it really is a relationship. I can imagine you were protective of them all, Marie. I can imagine that you were. But I just wanted to put this conversation out there to let you know that there is a way to bring healing to this. There is work that you can do to bring healing. And again, it does start with meditation, and it does start with conscious breathing. You know, the in through your nose, hold it, the out through your mouth. Start with that. Start with that. In through your nose, hold it, out through your mouth. In through your nose, and out through your mouth. In through your nose, and out through your mouth. Do the 4, 4, 4. And close your eyes and visualize your child self at the age that you were the first time that you felt the trauma or the wound. And start there. Just start there. And embrace your child self. Hug your child self. And start to talk about the wound and give the care and support to your inner child at that place in time. At that place in time. And again, if you need to go back twice, 3 times, do that. And you will begin to see a far significant difference. That's how you begin to do the healing. That's how you begin to do the healing. And as far as doing the edit in your time lapse of your life where the trauma and stuff was, we can do that. And I can plan a Zoom, but I need enough people to make it worth the time, because I'm busy, you know. And when I offer these things, I'm like, put your name in the comments below, and I'll do the group, I'll make the time, I'll do the Zoom. I will, because I genuinely want to help. But I need the feedback. I need the names. I want to make the time. And all you have to do is throw your names in the comments below after the video is over. I'm willing to help. But, you know, like and subscribe. Drop your comments below. It's important to work on yourself. It's important to do the self-care. Every individual can make a difference in the world right now. You can. But you have to start with yourself. You have to start with yourself. You cannot fill a bucket with your love and your power if you're draining yourself all the time. It's important to give yourself self-care. And that begins with emotionally, spiritually, physically. You have to give yourself self-care. You just cannot keep beating yourself down on the daily. All of this is just as important as feeding yourself, taking a bath, going to sleep. It really is. Hey, thank you so much, Care Bear. And next time, if you send me a message and I haven't responded, just go, Dana, did you see it? But again, your emotions affect every aspect of your physical being. If you don't take care of that, it can make you sick. And that is the truth. It can make you sick. So start working on the things that bother you. You can heal these things. You don't have to be stuck with the things that just bring you down all the time. We can regroup the emotional stress that drags you down and the blues. Oh, thank you, Nikki. Depression and anxiety and the blues, there are things we can do to help you feel better. Yes, there's Western medicine and there's medication, and I'm not putting it down. But there are things that can work in conjunction to help you feel better, to help you have a more productive life. And that's why I'm here to help fill that gap. And that is what I'm hoping that this channel can do. So that is why this community is here. It's a loving, no hate, no judge, supportive, beautiful, unconditional, positive regard community. Yes, Sheila Swan says you need to be willing to face the dark to get better, because there is a light at the end of the tunnel. There is a light. And there are people that are loving and supportive, that are willing to hold your hand. And we've all been through something. We all have been through something, me included. So, I'm not going to keep everybody late. I'm trying to cut things down, whether it's not so long. Oh, thank you, Marie Crumb, one of the only safe places on YouTube. Trying to make things not so long. I want to take your feedback if there are things you want to hear about. Again, if you want to do a Zoom, do some healing work, work on inner child stuff, work on the traumas of things, we can do a Zoom. But you have to put your name in the comments. It has to be worth doing a group on Zoom. Okay? Has to be worth it for me to pay for and open a group on Zoom. Because I have to do an extra fee for it. Because it costs when it's over 40 minutes. Anyway, I love you all. I care for you all. Please remember to like and subscribe. It helps get eyes on it in YouTube and pushes it up in the algorithm. They've got, look, I showed Sheila's one. All the numbers and the analytics and all the YouTube things that I have to look at. Please, it helps us. I appreciate it so much. Oh, by the way, I had a young 7-year-old student today. She said, "You look like you're on Disney." Tell me I look like I'm on Disney. I think she meant the actual Disney animated movies. I said, I'll take it as a compliment. You look like you're on Disney. Because I'm silly with them. Anyway, I love you all. I appreciate you all. Like I said, I'm only going to change the channel a little bit. We are going to do a lot more psychological things. We will do spiritual social commentary, but we're going to do, she's watching her IG post. We're going to do a lot more psychological things, psychological breakdowns too. I want to zhuzh up the channel, make it a little more lively. So I'm trying to figure out all those things. You know, when you're older, you're not as, like the 20-year-olds. I'm willing to take your feedback too. Let me know ideas, anything. Drop your comments below. I appreciate you all so very, very much. If you'd like to buy me a coffee, you can do so. Don't have to. At miraclesweettraveler.net or at Cash App Jordana1111. You all have my heart so very much. And anyway, have a super night. And I love you all. Oh, and I'm sorry I wasn't here Saturday. I had to pick a me night. I had to do a self-care night. I was dealing with a lot of MS pain, and I just had to pick a me night. I had to do self-care. Like I lecture you guys about, I had to. So I hope you understand. Oh, and if there's any topics, any psychological breakdown you want me to do about any known person, let me know. Preferably not a housewife, but it can be any other famous person. But anyway, I love you all. Take care of yourself. Please do self care. And I shall talk to you all or see you all on Saturday. Take it easy, Breathy. And remember, your vibe attracts your tribe. Until next time, bye, everybody. And here we go. Dun 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 dun.